Hello and welcome to Nurturing Nutrition. I wanted to discuss a little bit more on motivation, willpower, and also a little bit around the vocabulary that we use when we're dealing with weight loss. I saw a few days ago a video by a beautiful young woman who's completely on the right tracks for what she's doing to lose weight, in the sense that she's using her common sense, and she was talking about motivation and willpower. And in the video that I watched, she was saying that she decided she wasn't going to eat in a certain way, and her husband was going to a restaurant, and she told her husband not to bring her anything back, and of course, him being a loving husband, he actually brought her back some cake. And she said, if I'm not wrong, in the video, that she had the willpower to not eat the cake because she's motivated to lose weight. Okay. Now, I was so happy actually when I listened to the way she was talking, and I realized that she's completely on the right tracks and using her common sense. And I was very happy when I heard the word decision. And I'm going to just kind of go into the etymology a little bit of all of these words that we use, or maybe not all of them because there's quite a few, but some of the words that we use around weight loss. And it's funny because I actually had a discussion with a few people this week around this subject, around these words. Motivation comes from, if you don't know, comes from the Latin word movere, which means to move, simply to move. And somewhere along the line, somewhere at some time, it became the meaning of the incentive or the reason for doing something. So motivation is actually the reason for doing something. Sorry, my cat's gone a bit mad. She's running around all over the place. The motivation for doing something, the incentive, the reason. Okay, so you want to lose weight, your reason. What is your reason? Is it because you want to look better, feel better? That's the incentive, that's the reason. And willpower, because once you're motivated, obviously you need willpower, but again, motivation is just moving. You could say moving on, the momentum. Willpower. Now, power, obviously, the strength, whatever. Willpower has the meaning, the connotation today of being strong. And lack of willpower, or giving in to things, is being weak. Okay? Now, I don't really know where this came from, because the word will, the original meaning of the word will is actually desire, longing, wishing, wanting. It can also mean intention. So your willpower is very simply your power of wanting. You could perhaps say how much you want something. Okay? The problem for me is that these words are deformed. The meaning of these words are deformed. I don't have anything against motivation and willpower. On the contrary, I think they can be very good elements when they're used in the proper manner. But what bothers me is the fact, and this comes to the nurturing side, is the fact that if we don't feel motivated, or we feel that we've not got the willpower, or we give in to something when we're supposed to have the willpower to not give in, that means that we're weak. And so we're kind of beating ourselves up. You know, it's already really difficult if you have a weight problem or an obesity problem from the physical side of things, from this physical point of view. And to add to that, we're going to beat ourselves on the head with a big stick because we're weak-willed, we're not strong enough, we're not motivated enough. And we're damaging ourselves psychologically with these words. And I like to get back to the original sense of the word, the power of wanting. You want that really badly. You want it in a very strong manner. Okay, that's okay. And the momentum could be simply the fact that you are losing weight. That can be the momentum. The movement. I want to talk about the word decision because the lovely young woman, she used the word decision, and for me this was why she didn't eat the cake that her husband had brought her, was because actually she decided not to do it. Now, decision for me is actually much stronger than willpower and motivation. Decision, the original sense of the word, the original meaning, the etymology, comes from the Latin decisere, which means to cut off. So basically you're cutting off any other possibility. That young woman had made the decision to not eat the cake. Even if her husband brought her something, she wasn't going to eat it. For me, there was no willpower involved because the decision had already been made. She had in her mind actually, in a sense, put up the barrier. She'd put up the fence. She'd closed the door on the idea of having whatever it was that her husband would bring back. And she says herself in the video, the cake stayed in the fridge for a week and a half, or I can't remember how long it was. Yeah, because you decided you weren't going to have it, and that was it. You decided, you cut off that possibility. And I think that is so freeing, to just decide something. You just decide very simply, and you're making your life much easier with a simple decision. I've decided to do that. Now you can obviously change your mind. You could say, I've decided to go out for a walk this morning, and then it's pouring with rain. I've decided to stay indoors and do some paperwork. Okay, in which case you've cut off the possibility of getting completely soaking wet. But there's no willpower involved in that. I don't know if you see what I mean. You know, just I decided I'm not going to go and get wet. So decision is making your life much more easy, and it's much more gentle, and it's kinder to yourself than the idea of I have to get motivated and I have to use willpower. If that can help you, then do so. If that's something that you feel that's going to be beneficial for you, then do that. But if it's something that's making you feel unhappy, then we need to find a different way of doing things. On my own personal situation, I made a decision to change the way I ate. And this brings me to the word diet. Traditionally, we will say things like, I'm on a diet. I can't eat that. I'm on a diet. And a diet implies a short-term solution. The connotation of this, and you know, if you want to correct me if I'm wrong, then feel free to comment or send me an email or whatever. I'm happy to be contradicted. It's a short-term solution. It's something that's restrictive, constrictive, difficult to put in place and difficult to maintain. Okay? I'm on a diet. I mean, how cruel can you be to yourself? I'm forcing, you know, again, to come back, you're already suffering physically and you're going to make yourself suffer psychologically, and you're on the diet, so you have to use the motivation and you have to use the willpower. Come on, let's make your life easy here, you know. Diet, the original word, again, a lot of you will probably know this, but the original meaning of the word comes from the Latin, or the etymology of the word is dies, which means day, and the word dieta exists in Latin and in ancient Greek, and they mean a way of living. And the other sense, which I thought was rather amusing, the other sense of dieta is a day's work or a day's wages. Where on earth did the word diet, the etymology dieta, where on earth did that end up being a restrictive, constrictive solution, short term, for losing weight? It's a way of living. So what I'm encouraging you to do is not go on a diet. I'm encouraging you to make a decision and change the way of living, your way of living, so that you're living in a healthier, more natural environment that's better for your health, that's going to help you lose weight definitively. Okay? This is the whole idea. And make it easy on yourself. Again, the problem with the words willpower, motivation, diet, is that if you break the diet, that means you don't have any willpower, and that means you've lost your motivation. And that means you're a bad person, you know, basically. Of course it doesn't. It's completely silly. If you have something that you feel you shouldn't be eating if you're looking to lose weight, it's okay. The worst thing you can possibly do is beat yourself up about it and damage yourself psychologically, because what's going to happen is you're going to say to yourself, I don't have any willpower, I'm completely weak, I don't have any real motivation, I've just broken my diet, what the heck, I'm just going to have the whole lot of whatever it is that you think you shouldn't be eating. Instead of actually just making the decision at that moment to have whatever that is and enjoy that part of it. And I think this is really, really important. To be kind to yourself. And it's a little bit off subject, but I did kind of want to talk about this evening. I had a rather heated discussion with a person earlier on this evening on the subject of diet, and this is something that I really want to say. It's kind of off subject and not off subject, completely on subject at the same time. A diet is a way of living, on a daily basis. So if you're looking at all sorts of different diet solutions and you come across a diet and you're trying it out and it's difficult to do, and you have to question yourself, and I know because I've been there, the question that I didn't ask myself, and I ended up, I was obese for 5 to 10 years because I never asked this question. So I'm suggesting that you ask yourself this question. Is this something that I feel I can do every single day till the end of my life? And if the answer comes back no, then surely that's not the right way of going about doing things. To come back to the discussion that I had with the person earlier on this evening, this person was a woman. She is on this particular diet. Now, the thing for me is I happen to know that the doctor, and it is a doctor who's promoting this diet, the doctor who's promoting this diet has actually been in court quite a few times. He was in court, taken to court by the order of doctors. I'm not quite sure how you say that in English, the medical order. In March, he has an upcoming court case in September by a woman who fell seriously ill implementing his diet. And again, this is, you have to question, because a lot of these diets that are out there, they are short-term solutions, and they can also be potentially dangerous for your health. So ask yourself, is this something I can do on a daily basis? Can this be my way of living from now on? And do some research into what's being said. I never tried this particular diet. It's a fairly recent one. It's the new fashionable diet, and here in France. And I'm always interested when a new one comes out onto the market to kind of check it out and see what's being said. There are lots of forums where you have people, you know, you're going to have people saying this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I actually very rarely eat bread, but anyway, the greatest thing since sliced bread. And you're going to have other people saying, but it was an absolute nightmare. Take into account what different people are saying. Check out if there are any medical reports. Check out if there are people that have fallen ill from doing this diet. Check it out, because it is your life that could be in danger in this case. So I think that's all I have to say for this evening. Be kind to yourself. Make a decision. You don't need to use willpower and motivation unless you absolutely want to. Make a decision and find your way of living, your diet, your own personal diet. And as that young woman is doing, base it on common sense, because common sense in general, that works really quite well. And here's to your very good health. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.